All right. There's a few things which I would like to talk about, because we're talking always about what does it mean to grow spiritually, and what is higher consciousness about. And I mention these topics because it's very important, and I see how there are people who have been literally sucked dry by the masses, right? It's like somebody who has something special, this kind of a spark, right? It's like this, I have something to give. I have a good eye for photography. I can talk, but it's not just about the way I can speak about things. It's about just like the light, right? That's shining. And I have a lot of problems when I go and record myself and there are people in the vicinity, and I have the feeling like they want to listen in on what I'm talking. And why do I not want that? Because their consciousness, I'm not recording this for them. If they want to hear what I have to say, then they have to watch this video. I'm not here to give like private shows for people, right? I'm not here to satisfy rich people's needs. I'm here to do what I want, because that's what I want to do. And so I often realize when I'm in the city, people get like a little bit greedy. And then you give them, and then you once not give them, and then they're like pissed, and then they don't want it anymore. All this kind of nonsense. It's like this constantly playing catch with people. Because as soon as you give them something, they just want to keep it to themselves, and you will get nothing back, is what I'm saying. Like, you may get money, but if you want love, forget it. People won't give you love. They will sit there and they will talk to you for an hour, but not because they want to listen to you, but because they want to glow in your presence. And that is a heavy burden, because some people will try to trap you into listening to them for hours and hours on end, because they're greedy. And when they are in their presence and you listen to them, they feel like, oh wow. I just had a conversation and somebody was constantly talking about stuff, and I had the feeling he was trying to get rid of me. But in the end he said, yeah, because I wanted to take pictures at his place, and then he said, yeah, okay, go ahead and do it. But I had to pay with half an hour of listening. And then you have to listen with love, because if it's not completely honest that you sit there and listen, it won't work. And so just be careful with how much you give, because if you don't have a lot to give, you're gonna have burnout, emotional burnout, because you can't give no more. You're overexerting yourself. So I work with people, and then they want to play frisbee, and then they don't want to play frisbee. And if I would come to the park and expect they would also be here and play frisbee with me, then I'm their sucker. But I don't want to be anybody's sucker. I want to suckle on life, right? I don't want to suckle people's teats. If they don't want it, then they don't want it. I can be as clear as I am, and I say this is what I want out of the relationship. I don't want to fool around. I don't just want to have sex. No. So it's your choice. You're attractive. I make you an offer. You want to invest into that. Yeah, maybe not. I have to feed the cat. It's like, I have the feeling you're not really interested in me. Now that's the feeling you're giving me. And I'm willing to, sacrifice. That's the problem, of course, I'm facing looking for a woman, because I'm never sure if the woman really wants it. Because nothing's happening from nowhere. It's like really weird. But I keep opening doors and I just see what's in that, what's behind this door. Is that a phony, or is that the truth? A part of me really wanted to record myself doing animal movements, but I also have the feeling today I'm not really in the mood, at least not here where people can see me. I like also privacy or privacy. I don't necessarily have to be always where people are. I like to go somewhere else. I like to be in flow and flow where my flow takes me. And you can't really force people to play frisbee with me. You can encourage them, but you can't really force them. Some people, they really want you to draw them out. But then my question is always, what happens when I draw you out? What do you want then from me? Because if I make an effort and I draw you out of the swamp, then what's the purpose of me doing this? What role are you going to play in my life? Because there are people that I meet here in the park or elsewhere, and then I have a conversation with them. Then I'm always scared they will start following me around, and I just say, I don't want that. I give. Sometimes I also make it a little bit too easy for people. But I have the feeling that if there are young people who want to spend time with me, I can force some kind of wisdom into them that may help them to grow up. Because I also have the feeling that it does make a difference when I go to places and I hold the room and I give energy and love. But I also know that I have to retreat at times and talk a little bit less and do a bit less of other things. And now they're playing without me, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That they're playing frisbee without me. I gave them my frisbee and then I left. And that's exactly what I had in mind. So that I can be okay, it's working. As long as they have the frisbee, they're gonna play. So all they need is to realize that that's what they like doing, right? It's like, all right, I can get that. I understand it. Sometimes you just need a little bit of time until you realize that what you really wanted was to play frisbee. And then I can feel good about going hiking and doing other things while they play frisbee and just see what happens, right? That's the idea. And that's how I want it to be, right? So I was experimenting a little, just a little. So now I can do that also. Just check it. Instead of doing something else now, I'm just doing this. Because I don't have to cut it. I don't have to make single sections. Just can make this could have been a picture. You just have to open your eyes and see what is available and then do something with it. You can do aerobics here. You just have to find a spot somewhere. And then you just get going. And now I found this place, Lunatic, and I was always trying, I don't know where I'm going to be at in five years. But for now, I'm here. And I'm doing everything that I can to grow. But I'm taking as many people with me as I can. And that's at the moment what my job seems to be. It's being here and growing together with the city and with the young people, because those are the parents of the new generations, right? You know, the teenagers that are young now, those are going to be mothers and fathers. And so I feel like, you know, instead of working with people who are really old or working with people who are really young at the moment, what I can do is motivate some teenagers and just make sure, but it's basically not just teenagers, it's, you could say, anybody that I meet. Anybody, right? Can be a woman, can be a man. I don't know what role you're gonna play in my life. Sometimes I say to a woman, you know, yeah, it just has to be serious. And then I see if she really wants it. And if she just wants to be friends and is okay to talk to me a little sometimes, well, okay, then that's that, right? I mean, it's not like, who am I to judge? But unless somebody really wants it and somehow wants to work together with me, you know, because, you know, I don't have to drag people alongside with me. But when I think about how a marriage for me could work, it probably would be a woman that also wants to engage with me because she feels like, hey, I can be safe at his side. He somehow makes me feel good. And maybe I don't understand why, but for some weird reason I'm falling in love with this barefoot walking bearded talker. Yeah, sure. I mean, I get it. That's what charisma or, you know, being balanced is about. So that's what I'm looking for, right? And so when I meet a woman where I see potential, because I'm not in the position where I can say I'm already married or something, but there are also certain categories where I say, yeah, there's a certain limit of how far I can stretch myself to pull somebody away from society or something, which apparently can be labeled as a big pile of shit. Like, fear shat itself into the form of society, and people still think it's a good idea to do it like this. You know, I can't really say anything about it, but yeah. Yeah, they're all on the leash, and I'm just looking for somebody who wants to be off the leash and wants to be free, because unless you want to be free, you're gonna have a tough time with me, because, you know, I'm working on being as free as I can, and I'm already being freed in many ways, right? It's like called liberation, letting go of ideas and concepts, opening up to new things. And yeah, I can't help it that I don't like it when people listen into when I talk, because there's just so many people or beings that sometimes get curious when I talk and film myself. What is he talking about? Well, about everything and nothing. You know, I'm just sending out energy. I'm just creating a platform for at least good vibe to a certain degree, but also with a message. And the message is, if you want something to happen, you have to go and do it yourself. And if you don't know what your niche is, what your particular profession is, well, then you have to keep making experiences and just find out, where am I going in life and what's my purpose, right? If you want to know that, you're going to find an answer, and at one point you're going to settle on, hey, this is what I like, right? It's like you're going to settle on it, and then you want to keep doing it for the rest of your life. And that's what I'm trying, right? It's like I found it, but now I have to keep going, because it is a stretch, and I have to pull it from very far in the distance to where I am. And I grow the way I can grow in any way I can grow, I grow. And I really don't understand why you walk your dog in the park and you have a leash on it. Maybe because the rules say it, but the truth is you're afraid your dog will run off or something. And your dog cannot defend himself. Yeah, that's what you should teach your dog and yourself. You know, I can defend myself against liars that just put up a, an act that just look dangerous, but that actually don't really do anything. And that's just most people. They just walk around and they're like very stiff. Then I start talking to them and suddenly they leave. It's like, oh yeah, I saw that one coming. Oh, you're leaving already? Oh, I'm sorry, I was just talking to you. But you don't really like that. It's like, holy shit, what's with that guy? Nobody talks like that. Yeah, but I do. And you're in my way. You're in my way. And you walk around here like you own the streets, but you don't own the streets because truth owns the streets now. And you're in my way because you're a liar, you're a phony, and you're a puffed up, Dio-soaked little critter that has to go back into the hole that he came out of. And sometimes I'm not really sure if that's just the essence of who that person is, or if they're just cowards. But I don't sometimes know what are really beings and what are just like, I don't know. Because there are people that are more like warriors, that are more like jaguars. And then there are people that are more like, yeah, no animal fits that description. They seem like low life. I don't know. There's jaguars and then there's rats. And you have lots of rats, but you have few jaguars. Maybe this is the way you can put it. And there are people who are like gulls, and then there are people who are like other things. It's hard to say, but you can certainly categorize people into categories. Oh, what a giveaway. That's what I realize over and over again. And that's what I see, that there are people who want to be truthful already from a young age. And then there are people or beings that just think nothing when they lie already as children. And other children, they just want to tell the truth all the time. So why is it like this? Does it have something to do with karma? Is it because they reincarnated many more times? Are these like avatars or, pure beings? I have no idea. All I know is that there is differences in motivation. Some people, they just want to have power for themselves so that other people would worship them. And then there's people who want to give as much as they can. And they actually think, yeah, I'd rather not have people worshiping me. So I'm going to be a little bit nasty, which is what yoga is about. It's like darkness and light. And I can be both at times, depending on who I'm faced with. And now I just want to do this again. Just from a different perspective. Yeah. So I really need this. I also need a quiet time. Because if I'm just constantly talking to people, I just start hating them. Like really hating them. Because they're just so greedy. I mean it. Just everybody's so greedy these days that they will never get enough from you. I mean, they will keep coming and keep coming, and they will suck you dry. Like that guy I talked to you about, he will lean back and smoke in my presence and fill the air with his stench so that he can shine, because I've done my work to a large part. I've cleaned myself, and now I clean others. And because I clean others, I get dirty again. And that means I have to go into nature. Which means if I spend one evening with a homeless person or a person sleeping on the streets because they're so heavy from trauma and shit they get from people, which is basically why they can't get out of it, because people keep giving them shit. They beg for money and people give them money, and what do they get? Shit. They get money, it's shit. In exchange for, I'm giving you money so that you can keep being my sucker. So the person who's begging is actually the holiest person in Western society. They're actually the purest souls. Because they say, all right, give me shit then, right? You could give me love or a home, but you give me money so that I can buy booze. And that means people are phony. They'd rather have a person drinking on the streets so that they can feel like I'm doing a bit better. I'm not as bad as everybody else, right? There are people who have it worse than me, but what you don't get is that the person who's living on the streets has to worry about nothing than living his life, maybe getting drunk, doesn't really matter. It's a very simple life. There are very few choices that you have to make. It's like, wait, am I gonna sleep under this bridge or in that bank facility? A person who wants to live this Western kind of bullshit society thing and really be good at it, they have to think about tax and insurances, which insurance to pick, which people make you look like. The guy on the streets doesn't care if somebody with a suit wants to sit with him. If he's peaceful, all right, sit with me, go for it. But not if... if you want to have a beef and you're angry, sure. But if you're peaceful, it doesn't matter how you look like. They like you anyway, because they're from the streets, man. They're like hardened by life. They can see through you. They see all your shit. Which is another reason why people don't like people that live on the streets and don't want to be associated with them. It's actually not that it makes you look bad, but you feel bad about yourself because you know that a part of you, it's all the Holy Spirit. So, that's a part of you that's living on the streets there. That's your own madness. And you feel safer with that guy's madness on the streets than in your home, so that you can cling to your TV and feel safe about it. And so you spend your nights deciding what shows to watch, while that guy is, at least having some kind of party. All right, he has to wake up, maybe in the stench of piss or something. But, you get used to that. He doesn't smell it anymore. It's just how he smells. It's as honest as you can smell. Wolves, they roll themselves in feces and stuff. And then humans come and they say they stink awful. Well, they smell how wolves smell. And I smell how I smell. I don't know how I smell. You know, it's hard to say. I think I smell like earth or something. Maybe I smell like dirt. You know, I can't tell you what I smell like. Because nobody really tells me, but everybody has a kind of a scent. And I'm starting to pick up scents, you know. You know, I can smell if there's like energy blocked. You know, if people's chakra are blocked, you get a stench like a cloaca. Which is certainly one reason why people need chewing gums. And why people need other things such as, what is it else? Chewing gums and then deodorant and all that stuff that makes you stink less. Yeah, now there's too many people, so I'm gonna turn this off. It's the stench of your own lies, and that's society. Cheers.